Yeah, so let's talk about Saweetie real quick. Because there was a clip of her on the Bootleg Kev podcast. And Bootleg Kev asked her, hey, how come you never really dropped a full debut project, a full debut album? Because that was that was always my like conversation piece when it came to Saweetie, like, but I always answer my own question saying like, oh, the label probably doesn't believe in her, and she probably didn't exemplify the right ROI for them to even push a debut album, a full length debut album from her. So that's why she keeps dropping like EPs, like 5-song EPs, 4-song EPs, 7-song EPs, all these taste testers. You know what I'm saying? Let me find the clippity clip real quick. I think I linked it. Let me see. So this is Saweetie on the Bootleg Kev podcast. Here we go, right here.
Do we just get EPs? Saweetie, I have to ask, why do we just get EPs from you?
So
album.
That's a great question. Honestly, it's on the way, and I say that every time. But I would say that was like a filler statement. But just to get, down to the ground and real honest in this point, I've been searching for my voice for so long. You gotta imagine, like, when you pop off of Icy Girl and you're thrown into the game off of a car rap, it was difficult, And it's really important for our artists to feel comfortable and safe in the studio environment. Not that it could get dangerous, but in a creative element.
Right.
So the more I got to know myself, the more I knew what I wanted. And I think this is the first time where I feel like I've discovered myself as an artist.
Saweetie, I have to ask, why?
Okay, so that was a very interesting way that she put it. One thing about Saweetie, when it comes to her interviews, and I kind of, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't like it. I like it because she's really good with her words. She's very articulate. I love a smart woman. But then sometimes I'm like, girl, if you don't just answer this question straight up and stop playing magician with words and just say it. But I was on Saweetie from the beginning. Ever since Icy Girl, I was on her from the beginning, and I was like really rooting for her. I felt like, oh my, y'all are hating on her. Give her some time, whatever. I was really rooting for her in the beginning.
You were.
I actually went to one of her shows. I think I saw her twice in DC at the Fillmore, or Silver Spring at the Fillmore. And I actually met her like out back after my friend Tommy. It was me, my friend Tommy went to one of her shows at the Fillmore, and we went around the back to meet her in person. And we met her, and Tommy sang for her. She's really nice. She smells good. She's pretty in real life. And she was this is when she was still being managed by Max Goose, I think that's his name. She like with Saweetie, like, okay. So when it comes to people not dropping projects, my mind automatically always goes to, oh, the label doesn't believe in you. And then also if it comes to the, also I feel like a lot of times when they don't drop projects, it's because the music that they have isn't good enough. It's just not good. Or something keeps getting pushed back. It just wasn't good. Mm-hmm. The album wasn't good. They had to go and scrap it and go start over fresh with something new. And that's what I felt like after a point. I felt like the songs that she had just weren't good enough for her to release as an album. I definitely feel like when she was with Quavo, when she was like really hot back in her like tap in days and her, the My Type days, I definitely feel like she should have dropped her album, because she had like a cool 5 songs. She had My Type that was really big, but that was on one of her EPs. Mm-hmm. She had My Type that was really big. She had Tap In. She had Back to the Streets. She had Best Friend. She had like, that was like what, four really good songs, and I feel like she should have put the album out, in my opinion, especially with her having all that clout with Quavo and all that stuff. They were on magazine spreads and all that stuff. All eyes were on her. I feel like even if it didn't do as well that first week, still put the album out, because you have all this music, and I feel like it could have grown over time, in my opinion. But she, I feel like I believe that she always wanted to be a rapper, but I feel like, she went viral from a car rap. Icy Girl was a car rap that went viral, and management saw her and wanted to take her under their wing because they saw what they could do. Like, it's all a business. They see a pretty girl. This is a viral rap song. we can market her. We can place her in these places. Cardi B's already making a name for herself, so we're out of the Nicki gaze. Let's do this. Rico Nasty's out here. All the other rapper girls are out here. Let's do this with her. Like, I get why management took her under her wing and wanted to like catapult her, but I don't think she was ready. And she says things like, "Oh, I wasn't ready yet," because. And you can tell she just wasn't ready yet when she would, because there were mistakes made along the way. Because of course, like management wanted to place her in places because here, look at this girl here. Right. They wanted to place her. They were trying to do their job as a business person, right. But she just wasn't ready, and she just didn't have the skill to go with it. Yep. There were some mishaps. There was the Ebro freestyle Hot 97 thing that was a mishap. That was that awkward freestyle where she was it would come to find out. They felt like Ebro and his, radio show, they already knew that, okay, she's not ready to freestyle. We don't really believe in her skill like that. But her management was pushing for her to do a freestyle. And at first they said that they tried to lie and said that the equipment wasn't working or whatever. But her management kept pushing for them to let her do a freestyle on their platform. So that's how we got the freestyle from Hot 97 that kind of fell flat, and that was embarrassing for her or whatever. And she said that later on she had PTSD of it or whatever. And then also, she tried out to be on. This was after My Type was a hit. She tried out to be on one of the XXL freshman covers. I think this was the one where Megan Thee Stallion and the Baby were on there. It was Megan Thee Stallion, the Baby, Rico Nasty, and Blueface. They were all on that XXL cover. I think that was the one that she auditioned for, and. She had they have like a freestyle. They do different stages of like trying to get on, and then they end up getting on, and they have that whole rollout of them being on the cover. Right. But I guess they were on the stage where they had the different rappers submit a freestyle for people to vote them into the cover. Mm-hmm. And so she had her own little freestyle, and she had a freestyle that she rapped a verse from one of her songs, and she was freestyling it on camera with acapella, and that fell flat. It was just awkward, and like her delivery was way off. It was just bad. Mm-hmm. And she got clowned for that. So they had to scrap that from online. So if you find it online, it's because someone grabbed it or whatever and took it in whatever they did with it. Right. But you can tell that management had XXL scrap that off a line because she was getting clowned from that. So it's apparent that she just didn't have the skill that, because sometimes like you can have natural raw talent, or sometimes you have to just learn it. You have to work hard to get there. That's a fact. Because I was, we can see, Megan Thee Stallion came out around the same time she came out, and all these other girls came out around the same time. We're like, oh, Megan can do it. Megan is like, with Megan, you can tell like, because Saweetie was rapping too. Like Saweetie was doing her car raps and stuff. Cool, right? But then we saw Megan. Megan was doing the same thing. She was like doing her little freestyles or whatever, and she was with her mom, and they were grinding, doing shows and stuff like that. She was doing her little dropping her freestyles or whatever here and there. But Megan she just had that raw talent. With Megan, she just had a raw talent, and she could just rap. It was like a God given. She can just rap, and she was just good. Mm-hmm. It was just in her. You know what I'm saying? But with Saweetie, you may have to just work at it, right. And sometimes you could still just not have it. You know what I mean, or whatever. That's true too. And I grew to realize that even with the EPs that she would drop, I felt like there was still some growth that needed to be made. I still felt like, in certain songs and certain deliveries were kind of awkward, and just all that. I felt like one of the critiques that Ebro had when she freestyled in front of him on Hot 97 was that, okay, this sounds kind of cute, but I just feel like your raps are kind of basic. And I feel that, and I still feel that way with her when she drops some of her songs, like her newer songs. Like I still feel like, okay, this still sounds kind of, it's cute, but it's still, when you start really rapping, it still sounds kind of basic. It doesn't really tell a story for me. Like with someone like Megan Thee Stallion or or Nicki Minaj, like they tell stories, and they all can be rapping about the same thing, mm-hmm. But it's the way they rap, the metaphors in their delivery. It's the way they're rapping it and how they're rapping it, storytelling, or just like talking shit. Like Megan, she's good at talking shit. You know what I'm saying? And then she also tells stories in her raps. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm like, damn, like sometimes I wish like, oh, Saweetie, like this, like be more, and Saweetie's very confident. It's just like, it just lacks in actual skill sometimes. And that's why I know why she's not dropping the album, because it's just like the skill isn't there. The music isn't that good for you to drop the album out. Like I know that as she's an artist, so she wants to put her music out, but it's just not good for her to put it out yet. And I'm sure the label's like, yeah, like these EPs, like these EP numbers aren't really numbering that well either. So it's like, why would we put an album out with you? You know what I'm saying? So I get on all ends. The label probably would have said no. I get why they would say no, and I get why she wouldn't want to put it out, because she's just not ready. The skill is not there. The music is not there. It doesn't sound good enough to put it out. There was a someone asked on Twitter the other day. They said who has the better flow, Ice Spice, Cardi B, JT, or Saweetie? So I said I'm going to say Cardi B out of these choices because Ice Spice hasn't shown enough difference with her flow. I like JT and Saweetie's attitudes and their confidence, but their deliveries always seem awkward at some points. And yeah, I felt like that. Like, I feel like even with JT, I love JT. I feel like JT is very special, but I even feel like with her, like sometimes her delivery is kind of like, okay, this is kind of the way you said this is kind of awkward. I feel like you were kind of struggling on how to say this, and then you said fuck it and just put this version out. You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel like with her sometimes too. But with JT, the way her flow is set up, I like her accent. I like her Miami flow, her Miami accent. I can feel like sometimes, you know, her raps make kind of fall kind of basic, but I just feel like maybe it doesn't really bother me too much with JT because I love her Miami tone. It's other variables about JT that make me, you know, gravitate towards her music. But I think that sometimes her delivery does kind of seem awkward. I like Ice Spice. I think Ice Spice is a good rapper. I think that I haven't heard enough different flows from her. Right. You know, I like Popa and like Plenty Some from her debut album, because those were a little bit more different than how she regularly raps. Ice Spice just dropped this snippet with the MIA sample. It sounds pretty good. I think Riot produced it, so I'm looking forward to that. But I just haven't gotten a lot of like different like versatility from Ice Spice, so I wouldn't choose her out the bunch. I would probably just go with Cardi B out of that bunch. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, but with Saweetie, like hopefully, you know, she can drop a debut project one of these days. But yeah, I just feel like the skill level is still, you know, I think with Saweetie sometimes her music still kind of gives like entry level to me, just compared to her other counterparts that came out around the same time that she did. You know what I'm saying?
So there's levels to it.
Yeah, I just feel like that sometimes. Yeah, that's how I feel. Hopefully, you know, yeah, I like I said, I root for her. Like, I hope that she does. This last EP that dropped called Hella Pressure, it's cool. I like the Twin song, and I like the Inspo song that she has on there too. And yeah, I like she does like, and I love that song The Way, though she samples Jill Scott. I like that song a lot too. I don't care for Rich Tivities that much, but yeah, and I just feel like even with her, like her visuals, I like the Is It The Way video because it's something different that she hasn't done before. But when it gets to like other videos where it's like, okay, you just put on some pretty clothes and you're just gonna film this scene real quick. That's another thing that I don't like. If you want to give me a visual, give me a thoughtful visual. That's why these visuals save Cardi B a lot when it comes to her music that people don't like all the time. Like, it's always a well thought out visual. It's always a well thought out story. It's very top tier, very premiere when it comes to Cardi B visuals. I want that for all the other girls too. I don't want you just to put on some outfits real quick and just shoot this scene real quick and like, you know what I mean? Like, at least I know if you do have like if you are working with a budget and you have like a low budget, there's still a way that you can be creative with the budget that you have.
That's true.